maybe this is the perfect week to win after what Kyle Petty said. But
Yeah.
here's the funny thing. Sometimes these analysts, they say things they want people to take notice. I kind of think that's part of it. Who knows? Maybe he had a lot of money on Blaney last week and he's upset and he wants to throw it back in him. But let's remember, half, at least, if not 75% of the reason last year, while he wasn't winning the races at this time last year, was not his fault.
Pit crew.
Terrible pit crew. Yes. Did he make a couple of mistakes last year that cost him? Yes. But his pit crew killed him. He should have won a couple of races. Throw in the fact that he should have won the championship race last year, but they told him not to. How is that his fault? So he would have won this race last year. And I just think it's a little premature to be.
It is.
I understand if we're at the end of this year and he's still without a win, let's say. And then I'm with you, because now I'm going to get upset that Ryan Blaney isn't picking things up and winning and closing races. But it's still a little bit premature for him to be making a statement like he made.
Yeah, and I see what he's saying. I mean, we've talked about this on the show. Is we're waiting for him to step up and deliver that next step. And looking at it, I took a little bit deeper look and what Kyle was saying. And, yeah, I mean, Blaney right now, compared to Casey Kane, yeah, I mean, he's got 7 career wins. He's 68th all time. It's like you're in a Penske car, man. Eventually you're going to have to see what Logano's doing. He went 17, 18, 19, 20, just 1 wins a year. That's it. And out of those wins, Pocono, Roval, Talladega. Those are it. And then 2021, he finally won 3 races in a year. That, to me, that was starting to break out. But what I think was holding Ryan Blaney back, as we mentioned, it was his pit crew. I know he's never going to throw them under the bus, but they have taken him out of more things than not. But he, in the playoffs, on his end, he kind of chokes in big moments. This isn't a big moment. That's why I'm going all in on Blaney this week, because I looked at it last year in the round of 8, and he admitted Vegas and Homestead were his own fault. He was in the 3rd place in Vegas when he made that mistake and spun on the backstretch and wrecked. He was 3rd at the time. Homestead exits his final pit stop, 3rd place. Did the Hamlin snafu. He downshifted instead of upshifted, and he spun. And that really kept him out of the championship 4, because, as you said, if he doesn't do that, he's probably getting that 4th wild card spot, or that final wild card spot in the Phoenix. He finished 2nd in that race, but he had a better car than Logano. He probably would have been the champion last year.
But just also keep in mind, if he would have had more help in the beginning of last year and he had more wins, there's more confidence, less chance that I have to do everything myself, less chance that he makes some of those mistakes. So
it is.
I'm not trying to say he's made mistakes. He should live up to them. But when you don't get the help, it's kind of hard to kind of say, yeah, look, you got to do better.
It is. And I looked last year. So the last 3 years when he going into the rounds, like in those rounds that he's been eliminated in, he just kind of choked. But when he came out of it, he was really good. It's like when the pressure was off, he was 2nd in Phoenix last year. You got 2021, he was 6th, 37th, 11th in the round of 8. And then he finished 4th at Phoenix. And then 2020, he was eliminated in the first round of the playoffs. He had 6 top 7s in the 7 races after. It just seems like when the pressure's on, he doesn't respond. That's probably a better way for Kyle Petty to say it than compare it, because I think Blaney's better than Casey Kane. Does he need to step up? Yes.
You could say that. I'm okay with saying that. Sure.
This is the perfect weekend for him after these comments. Sometimes driver analysts do this to not necessarily have a negative impact on that said driver. He's actually saying it to help that driver.
Maybe Kyle's going to put money on Blaney this week.
We don't know whether, and this could sometimes happen, sometimes team members may leak stuff to Kyle. Hey, this is what we feel, and would you say this, or how do you feel? Because we're trying to light the fire under him. Because I think this would light that fire under Blaney, because this, I don't think it's a coincidence he's saying it for this week going into this race, not last week going, because this is his track. I mean, 7 top 10s his last 8. He was 3rd place in 2019, both races, 10th and 6th in 2020. 10th and 4th last year. He led 35 laps or I'm sorry, fourth and second last year. He led 35 laps in 2020. He led 143 laps in stage two of this race last year.
252 total last year.
Yep. 109 laps in the fall. Pit road is what kept him out of the win last year in this race, and the team kept him out of the win for the fall race. He could have swept Phoenix last year. And after the way the season started, you also got to look, he was third in the playoff race in Martinsville last year. And then if you want to be all fairness, he did respond to that race. So if there's any races he's going to respond and have the mic drop back to Kyle Petty, this is the track. So I kind of don't think that's a coincidence that those comments were made going into this week.
And the way you look at it too is if he doesn't respond, then you can't lose. Yeah. Then you're like, hey, see, I told you. I mean, so I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna throw a few $100 on him if he wins, and then if I can't lose. So I just cannot. So you're right, a really good time to do it. But look, here's another thing that we've talked about, and you just said it with his pit crew, and I did see him get a little bit upset last year, but what's happening is he's just getting upset. He's not getting upset directing it at anybody specifically, and that's the next step. He is now. I don't know if he feels he's not at that level yet that he can do that. Maybe I don't know, but if I was in his camp, I would be, look, you've got to. I don't mind you being upset. That's awesome. Channel that anger to your racing, but if this keeps happening, you have got to stick up for yourself, and you've got to. And if nobody is going to stick up for yourself in your own camp. And publicly, if by doing it this way, where he's not going to publicly shame anybody, hasn't worked, then you got to start publicly shaming people.
You do, because with him, you can look at, I don't know how it ended up. He was in the top two of the stage ones last year. I know going into the playoffs, him and Truex were 1-2, and I don't think that really changed much. How does the guy with the most stage wins not have a race win? That tells you that they're dropping the ball on him. And it happened a lot. We talked about this. The final pit stops, his crew, it's not just him.
It was really bad. I remember that one race, I forget, maybe it was this one, where he kept coming in and kept coming out like 6 or 7 spots.
Yep. Then he'd make it back up, and then it was this one. And he still led over 100 laps. So if he can get a pit crew that can consistently not lose him spots on pit road, they don't have to gain him spots. Just if he comes in 5th, let him exit 5th. Because what happens is he comes in 5th and he exits 12th. He comes in 3rd and he exits 8th. He loses the track position. If you could, I can't think of many times where he's came in and actually gained spots.
Whenever I have money on him and he comes into the pit and it comes out the same, that's awesome. That's an awesome win. That's a win.